Welcome to Massage Chair Relief Live, the podcast designed to educate, inform, discuss, and critique the relatively new massage chair industry. Join your host, Dr. Alan Weidner, to become a massage chair expert and avoid multiple pain points in your search for the perfect massage chair.
Hello, I'm Dr. Alan Weidner from Massage Chair Relief, and what you're about to watch is part one of my interview with Justin Milne, who is an expert massage chair technician here in the Utah area and has been working with us for over 10 years repairing our customers' chairs. The interview should have just been one recording, but our internet went out in the middle of the recording. And so we abruptly ended the interview at about 40 minutes in. Well, that was on last Wednesday, August 21st. And we are going to be recording the second part of that interview with Justin, who's agreed to come back and make up for the lost half of our interview on next Wednesday, August 28th at 3:00 p.m. Mountain Time. So join us during that for that second part of this. The feedback that we've received on the original recording of this interview was outstanding. A lot of people had other questions that they wanted asked, and so we've added that to our list of questions to ask Justin. And it's such an interesting interview because we see massage chairs through the eyes of a technician who has to repair them and what things customers need to know about chairs before they buy. So it's a very, very helpful and informative interview, and we will continue it with part two next week. But anyways, without further ado, let's move on to this interview with Justin Milne. Hello, this is Dr. Alan Weidner from Massage Chair Relief, and we welcome you all to our monthly Massage Chair Relief live broadcast. Live stream, and we welcome our people at on YouTube and on Facebook, and those of you that are watching on the website. We welcome you today. Our guest is Justin Milne. He's the owner of Advanced Fitness Repair here in Utah, and he's been a technician for us for years. And we'll get into his background a little in just a moment. We also have Stan Parrish, who's our manager at the Utah store, who is today at our Northern California store working there, but he hasn't been able to figure out how to use the camera or get the camera working. So he's here on audio, and he will probably be pitching in a word or two from time to time. But anyways, we welcome you to this broadcast. I'm excited about this broadcast because this is a topic that we've never discussed before, never broached before. We've talked to the heads of the various massage chair companies throughout the year. As a matter of fact, our 1-year anniversary of this broadcast will be next month. And but Justin, the reason I'm so excited to have you is because almost everybody that owns a massage chair, maybe not almost everybody, but most people that have for any extended period of time has had a problem at some point or another with their chair. So we're going to talk to you about that. But first of all, I just want to ask you a couple of questions and welcome you to the broadcast. But tell us a little bit about how you got in the industry.
Well,
how long you been doing it?
What's that? I've been at it I've been fixing massage chairs for over a decade. I got in the industry. I was actually fixing fitness equipment, and I've been doing that since 2001. And I got headhunted by a couple of massage chair companies. They had really good success with having guys like me that do the fitness equipment. And so they actually called me. Brookstone was one of them, and Brookstone's now they're out of business or doesn't sell chairs. But anyways, they're one of them that got me going. And then ever since that, it's just kind of been a ripple effect throughout the market as far as chairs go and that sort of thing. So I've worked on a lot of chairs, a lot of different ones all over the place.
Yeah, and that's, I think, why your experience is so valuable to me is because you work on a lot of the chairs that we sell. So it's you'll have the kind of an insider scoop on that. So, but have you only been at it for 10 years? It seems like I've known you for longer than 10 years.
I don't know. I'm guessing 10, maybe up to 12. But yeah, I've done fitness equipment now for 23 and then chairs since then. And there's a lot. So a lot of the chairs now are showing up. They're having recovery rooms in some of these fitness centers. And they'll do, we've talked about this, but they'll have recovery rooms in there and they'll be putting chairs in there and they'll have people that'll go in after they exercise or before they do. And they'll, hit a massage chair and, get some stretching or whatever else they need, muscle relaxation, that sort of thing.
So you can fix the chairs and the treadmills while you're there.
Yeah, I do both.
Well, for those of you might recognize Justin. He and I did a video quite a few years ago, comparing a $500 cheap massage chair that you can get at Amazon or wherever, and comparing it to a higher end chair. At the time, it was the Infinity Genesis. And a lot of those principles, I think, still hold true. The things that we highlighted, are you still seeing a pretty significant difference between cheap chairs and more expensive chairs?
Yeah. You, in this industry, you get what you pay for. So if you go and buy a cheap chair, you get a cheap chair. You go buy an expensive chair, you get an expensive chair. And some of them have a lot of bells and whistles. One thing as a technician that I always tell people, go try chairs. So this is one of the plugs that I've got for you and your stores is don't buy a chair online if you haven't sat in it, because you don't know. Maybe there's a chair that's a $5,000 chair that gives you a better massage than a $10,000 chair, but it's all up to the person, the way, their body, their contour, that sort of thing. Depends on it. So yeah, go try chairs versus, just running out and buying one and not knowing what it does or what massage it has on it.
Well, and the problem is it's very difficult to find all the chair, like especially online, right? Because there's a lot of advertisers online, but they're just selling through a website.
Yes.
You have no idea what you're getting.
Right.
And of course, you see the reviews, and the reviews are great because the people that had a good review are the ones that company will publish on their advertisements. But there's a lot of disheartened people as well. Chairs that don't fit right, chairs that aren't strong enough or too strong, chairs that break down recurrently and regularly.
Yeah.
Now, have you? Oh, there's Stan. Just a minute. Let me see if I can get Stan on here. Stan. Oh, there he is.
Hey, I had to switch to my iPad. Sorry about that.
Well, it's good to have you, Stan. Now my head's being cut off and I look bald again. So they're going to have trouble. If I take my glasses off, Justin and I look exactly the same.
I don't know about that,
but anyways,
me over that way.
But anyways, there's a lot of chairs coming to market, and I understand when we had talked about this before, Justin. You have worked on all kinds of chairs.
Yeah.
But do you find that some companies are better at supporting than others? And I'm not going to ask you to name any companies, of course,
absolutely.
But there are some that are just better at dealing with issues, and others that are probably terrible.
Yeah.
Well,
I can tell you story after story, but we won't go down that road.
I like the stories. I actually do like the stories, and we're going to probably touch on a couple of them in this conversation because of what we had talked about before. But I'm really grateful to have you, Justin. Thanks for taking time I know you're busy, man. You're always on the go, and I'm very grateful that you took time out to spend with us. And I wanted Stan on the call because Stan's our manager at our Utah store and deals with Justin regularly, and probably hears stories that I don't hear when you come to the showroom. But Stan also has some insights into chairs that break down and the problems that it causes for customers. But why don't we start with the term we use in massage chair business is a failure rate.
Mm-hmm.
And can you talk a little bit about what a failure rate is, and and then we'll talk about what affects them.
Yeah, so I'd classify a failure rate as the frequency that something goes down, either, something mechanically that fails or a system that fails. So if you have, I don't know, say a massage mechanism that's in the back of the massage chair, if one of the pieces fell, and it's a frequent thing, I would consider that a failure rate, as far as how long or how often it's going down and frequency wise.
Is there what now? We used to say, this is what I understood when I first got in the industry, and I'm afraid I've perpetuated this myth, is that it is the number, it's the percent of chairs that fail total from a company. But I have come to doubt that now that we pay for a lot of the repairs of people even after the warranty, And I'm finding that every company has failure rate. And I think it's a lot higher than what we used to hear as being 2%. And I think maybe that was their failure rate up to when their warranty expired.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that these failure rates are a little higher than what we anticipated.
Yeah, I would be curious because I think we're tracking stuff better now. But when you started in the industry, it's been how long now, Alan?
Well, 19 years. I'm into my 20th year.
Yeah, so it's been a long time. So I think they're probably tracking stuff better now than they used to. So they may have different numbers or different statistics versus what they've got now.
Well, and I don't know how willing they are to share those statistics.
Yeah.
Because we're starting to track all this stuff, and we're finding that some of the chairs do have a higher failure rates, or certain features of the chair that is a recurrent problem. And and I'm thinking, boy, after the warranty expires, and you know the old saying about an appliance or a car, everything's fine until the day the warranty ends, and then things go wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's that pronounced with massage chairs, but I would say that we are definitely seeing more breakdowns after the warranties expire.
Yeah. You got two things that factor in. Number one, you've got people that have older chairs. And then number two, so when I was telling you I started doing this a long time ago, I would see, a chair or two a month, where now it's not uncommon to see, 4 or 5 a week. So there's a lot more out there. So there's a lot more chairs that we have. There's a lot more kinds. There's a lot more features that they're adding. Some of the features are good features. Some of them that I think the chair could live without, and so could the consumer, but it is what it is. So there's a few things that are factoring into that for sure.
Well, it does appear that, well, anyways, the chairs, there is a pretty good chance that your chair is going to have a problem at some point, depending on how long you keep it. Like if you're rotating a chair every 3 or 4 years, you're not going to have a ton of problems. Obviously, you may still under warranty, but the longer you hold on to it, there's more things that are going to go wrong.
Right.
Same as a car. Same as an appliance.
Yeah, you've got a lot of things that you've got wear items, and wear items go bad, just, like a belt in the car or something. So,
well, I wanted to talk a little bit about that, the things that affect the failure rate. If a chair just sat there and was never used, of course, it would never break down. I've got some. Do you hear some noise in the background?
Yeah, somebody's drilling or something here at the store.
Okay.
It's the fiber guys are putting fiber across the back of the building.
well, if you have any problems, let me know. We can dial 911 for you in an instant. But anyways, these failure rates, so many things affect the failure rate. If you were in a perfect vacuum of an environment, the chairs would break down less than if they were in a home with regular living activities in a home. But I was we talked about some things that affect the failure rates. Why don't you go into some of those of that list?
As far as failure rate goes?
Yeah, what contributes to the failure rate?
I would say use is probably the biggest factor of how much the chair is being used. So, how many people in the home are using it, how many people are coming over to the house that are interested in using it. I would factor in weight would be one that I would factor in.
Yeah.
I would factor in pets. There's a lot where pets will, attract, and you've got moving components that will pick up hair and stuff. And so that's another one. I don't see a lot of them. I mean, most of them are in a pretty comfortable climate controlled environment, but there is grease and stuff on them that if it got too hot could, melt and run, that sort of thing. So there are components in that do change the longevity, obviously, of the machine, just like anything.
Well, and I would assume, as we talked about earlier, if you have a cheap chair, you're going to have cheaper components that might have a higher propensity to break down,
right,
as opposed to higher quality. So, and of course, we're always harping at Massage Chair Relief the difference between what you get, what you pay for, like we talked about.
Yeah,
cheap chairs, and the cheap chairs serve a great purpose. I think they introduce people to the market that ordinarily would not be able to afford to get into the market.
Yeah,
but they're going to have more problems with the chair just because they're cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
But you had also mentioned Well, I'm going to get to that in just a minute. But the one thing that I wanted to mention, and I've seen this a couple of times just from you alone, and you're just here in the Utah store, but rodent damage.
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, so the couple of things you've got. So, and mostly I see it during the wintertime, but you've got warm components. So when the chair's powered on, there's boards, you've got like a main board that's underneath there. You've got a transformer, and they're hot. And they're nice and enclosed. And so mice or rodents will crawl in. Usually it's mice will crawl in, and they will pee and poo all over the circuitry. And sometimes when it happens, they get fried, and I'll open it up and there'll be a bunch of, stuff in there. So cleanliness is another big thing. And if it's in your house and you've got a rodent problem, then it can lead to a problem with the chair for sure. I've gone out to dozens and dozens of those problems where I go out and find stuff. I found, mice fried to the boards, and they wonder why the chair doesn't work. And
oh man.
So yeah, all of that fun stuff.
Do rodents nest under chairs?
Yeah, they will nest in them. So They'll usually find, and I don't know if it just depends on how much it's being used. But usually though, when I find them, they're nested in what we call the PCB tray. It's where like the air pumps are at, the valves are at, the boards are at. And these boards, especially in the wintertime, they're nice and warm, and they, when the rodents come in around here, that's where they like to go.
Do you see, well, it's hard for you because you're from Utah, and Utah is a very dry climate. I have heard some issues with chairs that are in a coastal region, where there's there may be a possibility of rust in the chair.
I have very little. The ones that I've seen have been people that have brought them here from, your coastal areas. So from East Coast, West Coast, that have brought them here to Utah, and I've noticed, but I haven't seen anything extensive that would make me think, it's a big problem where they're at.
Well, and that leads to another issue and you talked about, the weight of the people that are using it and the frequency that they're using it. There are some people that use these chairs like nonstop for 2 or 3 hours, and some that sleep in them all night long. They're not on all night long, but they sleep in them all night long. Right. Maybe you can speak a little bit to, and you called this thing the cycle. What do you call it?
The duty cycle.
Duty cycle. Maybe talk a little bit about that.
Well, so sleeping in it's not going to be an issue as far as duty cycle goes, because the chair is usually not running unless they're sleeping in it. But some chairs will have like a sleep mode. So after it gives you a massage, it will pause and it won't reset or go to what's called the home position. So it won't kick you out of the chair. And it'll stay there. Like the chair that I have, for instance, has that option. And so you can change that if you want, but it will kick you out. But most people that are sleeping in it, usually it's elderly people, because they can find like a zero gravity or a very comfortable spot, which they can get, or, if somebody's dealing with back pain or something, can find a comfortable spot that they can sleep in. And so they'll sleep in the chair. However, on the duty cycle is what the duration that say a motor needs to run, or it can run, or supposed to run, and then what it's supposed to rest for. So, and those changes by every chair, every motor, they're all different. But yes, every component like that has a duty cycle.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that before. I mean, we have told customers, and this is probably not real good advice now that we're talking, but I would say, hey, they'd say, can I use it as, how long can I use it at a time? And I'd say, well, you can use it until either you're sore or you start to feel that maybe after a couple of times you're like, sometimes we would hear this, people would hear sounds like a grinding sound, maybe from expansion of some of the components from the heat of the mechanical motion creates heat. But you were telling me that you can actually, on most of the chairs, there's a number on the back that tells you what the duty cycle is.
There is a lot of the times, but everything's different. So, every single motor or component's different. So, I mean, like a standard chair may have up to 10 motors in it.
Yeah.
So it depends on what the duty cycle is, but I would look at the duty cycle of the chair, the motors that are being used the most, which are like your up down motor, your kneading motor, your tap motor, your width motor, those sorts of things are gonna, those are gonna be in use all the time. So making sure that the duty cycle, that you're not exceeding that.
Is the duty cycle, is it longer on better chairs, shorter on
Typically, yes.
but, yeah.
I've seen chairs down to 15 minutes. But most chairs, so if you've got a massage in a chair, and let's say the massage is a 45-minute massage, then if it's a preset program, which a lot of people use, they'll find one or two of their favorite programs. If it will run that, then yeah, the duty cycle of the chair is what I would classify it as. Without seeing anything, that's external that tells me that, because that'll tell me that at least the manufacturer's gone through and tested it, and they know that it'll run for 45 minutes and then it needs to rest, before somebody else jumps in it or somebody sits back in it and runs a cycle again on it.
Is the duty cycle, does that include the rest time as well? Is the cycle that's just the time?
Well, the duty cycle, yeah. So the duty cycle is the usage time, yeah. So it's the time that motor can run.
And how long do you usually have to let it sit?
I'd say, as far as rule of thumb, to let it sit as long as it ran. So if it's a 20-minute duty cycle, then let it rest for 20 minutes. And if it's a 45, do a 45. But that's what I would suggest.
Geez. When we have family reunions or get-togethers, the kids use the chair all the time.
Oh yeah.
And I have never. Geez, I got to maybe lay out some instructions so they don't destroy the bloody thing. But the duty cycle, it makes sense. I've never really heard about it or talked about it. So I appreciate you teaching me about it. That's something that people need to be aware of when they buy a chair.
Right.
The chair, even as good a chair as it can be, can still have problems if it's overused.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you and this is maybe, I don't know if you have an actual experience with this or an opinion, but do you find that the components used in Chinese chairs are as good as the components in Japanese chairs or American chairs, or is that too broad of a statement to answer?
Yeah, I think it's too broad. I don't even know the answer on that one. I think the majority of them probably come out of China now. You've got a few U.S. manufacturers and you've got, some Japanese manufacturers, but I don't know that I would say or be able to classify and say, parts from this part of the world, work better or not. So on that one, there are parts of the chairs, like if I could make the best chair out there, I'd take parts from a Japanese chair and I'd take parts from a Chinese chair and an American chair and I'd mix them all together if it were up to me. But because there's some parts out there that I really like in each and every industry.
Yeah. Well, are there particular parts, now moving on from the failure rates, but as far as the parts breaking down, are there certain parts that I know there are certain parts that you see more than others when you're doing repairs? What are the most popular things that go wrong?
As far as breaking in parts on newer chairs, I would say it's probably across the board where I run into lots of different things. On older chairs, I would say the main things are massage mech arms, inner cloths, back pads, the wear items that will start to wear. And, you get 10, 15 years into a chair and those items are going to wear down. And then the problem is we don't catch them soon enough. And so say the back or the inner cloth, the massage mechanism has arms and those arms run up and down the back. If they get caught in that inner cloth, it will, eventually break the arm off or tear the back pad up. So those are things that I see that are probably the most common. On the newer stuff, I see everything, but there is, as a technician goes, I do see chairs, that have certain problems that are, prone, and we work on them or do, numerous repairs on certain things that I'm seeing quite frequently.
Yeah.
As far as it being across the board, there's not one particular thing, but the massage mechanism is by far the one that has the most use, and because it's the thing that's always moving, it's got all the motors attached to it, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, so the roller mech, that by the way, when you're talking about the inner cloth, just to clarify for people that are watching or listening, that's the linen that is usually the material that's between your back and the rollers. You'll see linen on your back. You'll see linen often on the arms. You'll see linen often on the foot massage as well. But that's the inner cloth, and that I've seen that it can get ugly when that thing shreds.
Yeah.
And if people don't take care of it.
Yeah, that's what the mech arms touch. So so you rest against the back pad is what I call it, or that's what its name is. So there is a padding between you, and then the cloth is, and most of them are a zip in liner that you can just unzip and you can zip a new one in. Yeah. And we went over that in that video, that YouTube video, but we went over that where some of them are sewn in and you can't zip them in, like the cheaper chairs won't have a sewn in one. So at that point, you just have to get rid of the chair, where most of the more expensive ones will have a zip-in inner cloth, and you can just zip it and unzip it, and you throw it away, and you get a new one and zip it in.
But like you say, you've got to catch it soon enough so it's not wreaking havoc on your roller.
Yeah.
Now, when a roller mechanism needs to be replaced, that includes a whole roller mech. What does that include? A mechanism.
Well, they have, some of them will have partial mechanisms and some will have full mechanisms. A full mech includes almost everything. So it'll have the up down motor, it'll have kneading motors, your tapping motors, your width sensors, all of the sensors, your up down sensor, that sort of thing. It'll have all of that built into the massage mechanism.
How often do you replace a whole mech, a full mech?
Like on a, what do you mean by frequency? Like,
well, is it something you see a lot of as opposed to a partial mech?
Yeah. So most of the partial mech stuff's kind of gone away with, but I did like the partial mechs because they were cheaper and you could replace them. And then the partial mech didn't include the frame and the up down motor. And it had the arms and the motors on it. So, but yeah, most of them now are full mechanisms because they don't do a partial mechanism anymore. And the reason why is they've gone to 3D and 4D, which brings the rollers in and out. And so that's why they've gone to that. And so we just replaced the full mech. But
would you say that is one of the most expensive components of a chair to replace? Or
yeah, it's probably one of the most expensive. And it ranges pricings, anywhere from, I'd say, $200 up to, on your really expensive chairs, up to $1,200 is where I would put the ballpark at.
It's not cheap.
No.
We have a customer that just was told by the massage chair company that he has to.
We lost you, Alan.
He froze. We didn't. Justin, when you were talking about the cleanliness and stuff, my boys and I go out and deliver the chairs, and then we also move chairs. People say, hey, we need to move this out while we're cleaning the carpet. Can you come move it to the garage? Or move it to another house. We move them from house to house. You know? It's funny how I'll go in a house and I've seen things like peanut butter and jelly drips down between the arms and the base of the chair and stuff. And I'm like, look, if you're sitting there and letting your kids eat in this chair, that's going to have an effect on it. If you want this thing to last for 8 to 10 years plus or whatever.
Yeah.
That type of cleanliness too, I think plays a factor. And I've pulled apart too and seen I'm thinking their cat or dog are sitting in the chair. There's so much hair down between the sides. And I'm like, there's moving parts in here and grease and stuff. I'm like, having an animal in the house is one thing, but letting them be all up and around the chair, I take some of those apart and I'm like, the life of this chair is already deteriorating. I can just tell by what's getting inside.
Well, and I'll find people that'll eat peanuts and sunflower seeds and whatever in them, and those will fall down. So they're just a feeding ground for the, mice can run up and come up and grab a snack and then head back down and go back in and find a spot and build a nest. I found nests that have babies in it before when I've opened them up. And it's just like leaving your warm car on, right? Your neighbor's cat will come and climb on the top of the hood. It's the same kind of thing, but it's just interesting as you were saying that. I was thinking, I have noted as I've moved chairs, some are spotless, right? Look, it's 8 years old and it looks brand new, and other ones are, going through. Alan's calling me on the phone, but he said his internet's down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man alive. I'm going to have to find out to see how much of this broadcast was preserved.
Okay.
I hope it is. If not, I'll get back to you. We might have to do it again.
Stan and I are online still. Are you able to get back on again or no?
I'm trying, but it's not connected to my internet.
Can you use your phone as a hotspot?
Yeah, but I can't get in this minute.
Justin's like, I do not have time to redo this. I got things to fix.
I've got things to do.
Yeah, you know what?
Are you back in?
No, I can't get in. This is mind-boggling to me. Well, I don't even know how much. I can't even get in to see how much was preserved.
Yeah.
So we'll just bid farewell now.
Pause it. Okay.
Deepest gratitude.
All right.
But, I think we got how much did we get in there? We got about.
We're at 28. We're at 28 minutes right now. We're still on, Stan and I. I'm on the phone. It looks like it still says we're live.
Do you have any last questions, Doc?
Yeah.
Go ahead, get out, and then
All right.
What we lost. I'm very sorry.
All righty. Well, Alan's letting us go. He said he lost his internet. He's on the phone here with me, so I guess we'll back out of this and try round 2.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
I'll get back to you soon.
Okay.
Find out what's going on.
All righty. Sounds good.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Okay, bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Massage Chair Relief Live podcast. Subscribe to this podcast and be notified of each episode. Check out our main website at massagechairrelief.com for much more valuable information on the massage chair industry and marketplace.